Hey guys, if you're taking your ACT soon, I've got a great tip in this video. It's the type of question that like so many people miss, and you don't have to miss it because they're not terribly hard. And these are transition questions. We're going to talk about short transitions in this video. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone, if you need private tutoring for ACT, SAT, or college essay coaching, be sure to check out SupertutorTV.com/tutoring. We've also got a couple of courses for the ACT and the SAT. You can find those at SupertutorTV.com. We're also probably planning to start doing some like cram session, boot camp style, kind of 2-hour classes the week of SATs and ACTs, which is going to be exciting. So make sure you subscribe to our mailing list if you're interested in finding out about those. SupertutorTV.com/subscribe. We'll keep you in the know of everything we're doing here, that included. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you can find us there. We also have a couple of books for the ACT math section. And as always, you can read instead of watch. If you don't have time to watch this whole video, you can go and read some of the tips on the blog that accompanies this video. You can find the link in the description. Cool. Awesome. Let's get into this tip. This is basically my set of the 8 things you should do when you come across these questions in order to get them right. Okay, this is like my troubleshooting list. This is the order in which I do my little mental process so that I can efficiently and correctly answer this type of question. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to scribble out the given transition and we write it next to no change on your answer sheet. Let me show you how we do that. So here, down here, here's our example. You see how this is however? I scribble that out and then I write it here. Got it? However, I'm going to do that. Then 2, okay? I'm going to read at least one sentence above and below the transition I'm trying to replace. Okay, so now I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to go to example 1 here, this use context. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read delicate artifacts from the past must be handled carefully, okay? Then I'm going to read archivists must wash their hands thoroughly to remove natural oils and dirt and must spread documents on a flat surface. So then what I do at this point, now that I've read those, is I'm going to try to intuit, this is number 3, what kind of a word should go in the blank, and I'm going to look for that word. So my intuition says, and maybe my intuition, it's not like super obvious, but this is talking about how we have to handle things carefully. So now I'm actually getting into analysis, which is actually my next one. If I can see it really fast, right? If my ear can like almost hear what should go there, then I'm going to select that word or look for that word and just finish. But if I don't get to that point, which is actually what's happening here, I'm going to start analyzing the relationship before and after the transition from reading those sentences, and I'm going to try to figure out what they have to do with each other. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to figure out, is this a claim then an example? Is this a cause and effect? Are these 2 pieces of evidence in a row? Like, what is this? So delicate arguments must be handled carefully. I think this is like a claim, right, or an idea. And then this is like specifics. Archivists must wash their hands thoroughly, and they have to spread the documents on a flat surface. So maybe these are the ways that they handle them carefully. So it seems like this is like an example of that, right? So that seems like claim, and that's like some sort of example, okay? So then after I've done that, and I've analyzed the relationship that they have with each other, I'm going to look at my answer choices. This is number 5. I'm going to see, do I see any words appropriate to this relationship that I came up with, right? And my relationship here is like claim, idea, and then example that supports that claim, like supporting details. So I'm going to look for something that says supporting details. However, is a contrast signal. That's not a supporting details. Likewise, maybe I'm going to get in that later. For example, oh yeah, I said this is an example of how we have to handle them carefully. Archivists have to do this. This is a way we have to delicately handle the stuff from the past by doing this, and this. For example, this is one group of people that has to handle artifacts, and that's how they do it. So I like, for example. And then I have instead. Instead's a contrast signal, so I know that's not right. Now, let's say I'm not totally sure between likewise and for example, even though I'm really digging on for example, because I do think it's the one that's appropriate to the relationship. Well, then what I'm going to do is number 6. I'm going to plug in the words, and I'm going to read through the complete sentence with the word plugged in, and I'm going to ask myself, how does that sound? And again, if you get to the point that you're pretty certain or you're pretty sure with one of these earlier steps, you can bow out. You don't have to do all these steps. But if you're not there yet, you keep going. Does that make sense? So on the easier questions, you're going to be able to work them faster. But on the harder questions, you're going to spend a little more time and you're going to figure it out. Okay? All right, so if I plug this in, I'm going to clean this up a little bit for you guys. So delicate artifacts must be handled carefully. Likewise, archivists must wash their hands thoroughly. That would mean, so likewise means this is an additional item, okay? That's like additionally, but I don't think it's additionally. I think this is a way in which you handle things from the past carefully. And again, because I focused on the relationship first and I didn't actually plug stuff in first, I'm not going to be as easily fooled by how these ideas are related. I have a much better understanding of that because I haven't fallen into the trap of the power of suggestion, right? That's why we scribble this out. We scribble that out because we want to avoid telling ourselves that it's some other word and then thinking that that could be the relationship. Same reason why I don't read through all these immediately. I want to find that relationship before I look at the possible words, because then my brain will work harder. It's a way of fooling your brain, tricking your brain into working harder so that you're more likely to be right. You don't have to be any smarter to be smarter about how you answer these. You just have to trick your brain into being its smartest when it's approaching the question. And that's what this technique is about. That's why we do it in this order, okay? So again, when I plug in likewise, it just seems a little funny because it seems like additionally, these don't seem like ideas. When I have likewise, I want them to be like parallel ideas probably. Okay. And if you're still stuck, right, even after you plug them in, and I could plug in, for example, delicate artifacts from the past must be handled carefully. For example, archivists must wash their hands thoroughly to remove natural oils and dirt and must spread documents on a flat surface. So here's number 7, and this is why I waited to choose one of these. If you're still stuck and you still think likewise might work, what you need to do is spool out the answer choice, okay? And let's talk about what spool out the answer choice, or spool out the words in the answer choices means. It means you make up another sentence using that word and you ask yourself, how do I typically use this word, right? And so for this one, likewise, here, I'm gonna spool out likewise right here, okay? So we have dogs often chew on toys. Likewise, cats often scratch items as a form of play. Do you see how I have like 2 parallel sentences? I have like dogs and cats. I have like 2 things that are similar. Like, how am I using this? I'm using this to provide an additional example that proves the same point, right? And again, I don't think these are like the same types of information. This is like general. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is specific. So I see that likewise links 2 things that have more of a parallel relationship. I see that this is general versus specific. I think that the general versus specific is going to adhere to how, for example, works better, okay? And so that's really how I'm going to work this sentence. Cool? So, and then we'll just go up to number 8. And so if for some reason those 7 steps didn't do it for you, and on this one, there's actually not anything being tested in terms of grammar. All of these are actually adverbs, all of these choices. And so they're all the same part of speech, essentially. Occasionally, they will be different parts of speech, and that's what I talked about a little bit earlier. And if that's the case, then you need to double check the grammar. And that's kind of my last step here. And depending, like if I know once I start reading through the answer choices that they create different grammar situations, I might check the grammar sooner rather than later. But if all of that stuff didn't work, then grammar's all you got left to figure out what the right answer is. Cool? Cool. If you want, you can like pause this video, take some notes, write down these little 8 steps for yourself, okay? And then when you do these problems, I want you guys to practice that sequence of working through them. And I guarantee it's going to improve your performance, okay? The way that you approach these is really important. This test, more than anything, is a test of approach. It's not about how smart you are. It's did you approach it in the way that's the most efficient, and it's going to get your brain to work the hardest and be the best it can be. Cool? I hope you guys liked that tip. If so, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. If you haven't yet, why haven't you done that? And subscribe to our mailing list, SupertutorTV.com/subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you do wonderfully on the ACT. Comment below and let us know what your score goals are. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.